Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to get right into the weekly reading for the sign of Gemini. This is going to be for December 8th to the 14th, and we're going to get right into pulling out your romance angel messages for the week. And yes, this is for Gemini, but of course it is Sagittarius season, and I am a Sagittarius, so thinking about this month as a month of blessings for everyone, really. And Gemini is also being my opposite. I'm a Sagittarius myself. Geminis are the opposite sign of Sagittarius, and so I imagine Geminis are going to be having a really great month also. So let's get right into it, my lovely twins. Ooh, upside down. Pay attention to red flags. All right, and then we have very soon. And we have healing family issues. Wow. Okay, so interesting week for you. Let's go ahead and pull out your animal spirits. We won't really know what this all means for you until we get into your actual spreads. But we can pull out your animal cards and then your animal spirits and see what kind of spirits you may or may not be resonating with this week. Spirits, animal spirits can represent people you may be dealing with, characteristics, personality types. They can also represent energies that are coming available to you to deal with a particular stage in your life or scenario. So let's just see, Gemini, what this week is going to be like for you. And of course, just take what applies to you, and if it doesn't apply, just let it go. Not all readings can be for all people. We know this already. The mouse. Dealing with a lot of nitty-gritty details this week, huh? Earth energy, fire energy with the camel. Beautiful. I love the camel. Very, very resourceful, independent creature. And the crow. All right, so this is the totem of magic, the crow. Also air quality. So let's get right into it. The mouse is, of course, earth elemental spirit. And the mouse talks about really getting caught up in details, Gemini, right? Being overworked, getting caught up in sort of the nitty-gritty of things, right? Oftentimes the mouse can get so caught up that they end up just sort of chasing their tail, right? And not really getting anything done, right? And so in this way, we're talking about, someone who's just becoming overworked, overstressed, right? Overly concerned about the minutia. So just take care. If this is something that you're resonating with yourself, it's time to certainly pull back from a situation, to take some time off, try to get a lay of the land, and try to, pull back so that you can get a view of the entire picture of what you're dealing with, so that you're not getting caught up in the details so much. All right, now the camel, beautiful, beautiful, strong creature, fire element. The camel is extremely independent, right? Extremely independent, extremely resourceful, right? The camel represents the ability to sort of handle anything that life sort of throws at you, especially some of the harshest times, right? I mean, if we see a camel in the wild, they live in the desert. They can go for many, many miles on their own, and when it gets too much or too hot, they get overheated, they only need to go within and tap sort of the elixir that they have, or the water that they carry within. So in this way, they can tap into their own energy to cool themselves down and allow them to carry on further. This is someone who's going to be, like I said, very independent, very resourceful, someone who really gets the job done without anybody else's help, right? Camel also is an energy that can remain cool in the face of a lot of anger and heat. So when we're dealing with healing family issues, this is a very, very good animal spirit, a very good energy to have around, because it allows you to remain calm, very tempered, right? And even, right? Remain even keel, we call that. So it's very, very good energy for healing. Now we have the crow. The crow is an air elemental spirit, and the crow is really sort of the great totem of magic. Even in sort of witchcraft and occult and esoteric fields, the crow is synonymous with that, right? With the potentiality of your creativity, the potentiality of magic that we all have within us. And so the crow comes into our lives at a time when messages are coming to us, right? The crow is also a messenger animal spirit. Some animal spirits are messengers. They can carry information from the divine or from the spirit world, from your ancestors, your angels, your watchers, whatever it is you believe in as a protective entity, right, or spirit. The messages coming from that dimension or that layer of existence, oftentimes there are animal spirits that are associated with that. And the crow is one of the strongest because of its deep connection with that level, right? With that, I want to say that, I say dimension, but really with that level of reality. And so this is definitely an animal spirit that comes into our lives to really show us the magic of life, and also to open up or to show us, open our eyes rather, right? To open up our eyes to the potential that we have within us to create beautiful things, creative things, and to create magic in our own lives, whatever that means to you, right? All right, guys, so let's pull out your spreads. We're going to pull out anywhere from 4 to 6 3-card spreads, guys. And see what you may or may not be dealing with this week, Gemini, okay? So these are separate forecasts, right? They're going to be, separate forecasts from each other, but some of them may relate, and you may resonate with one or more or none of these forecasts, and that's fine too. I already spent quite a bit meditating and shuffling before I'm filming so that we can get right into your cards. Let's go to Hermit, 5 of Cups, and a Queen of Cups. All right. Hermit energy, Camel energy is very synonymous with each other. So Hermit, yeah, you're coming into this week just feeling very solitary, feeling very meditative, very sort of into your own space. You just want, this week it's really just kind of, you're wanting to take time for yourself, right? You're very contemplative. And certainly you're thinking about spiritual matters in your life or spiritual goals perhaps that you're wanting to pursue. But more than anything, I feel that this week you're really just kind of trying to stay to yourself. You're not feeling very sociable. You're met with a 5 of Cups, and I think that this week you're doing some healing from a past situation that was really painful, a relationship that, you're still kind of, smarting from, a relationship that you're still kind of grieving that is over. And I think you're struggling this week very much with positivity or optimism. You're kind of in this, these two cards together seems like you're really, in a way, I don't want to say wallowing, but you're feeling quite sort of in the hole this week, right? You're feeling very much off to yourself. You're thinking about this relationship or this breakup, or how it went, why it went the way it went. You're doing a lot of sort of introspection this week. You're met with a Queen of Cups at the end of the week, which is, you round off your week with a Queen of Cups. And I think that there's going to be someone who comes into your life this week who, perhaps towards the end of the week or the second half of the week, someone who is, I'm going to say like a matriarch to you, or a very, very good friend who resonates with really deep sort of supportive and nurturing feminine energy, emotional energy. I think this is going to be someone who cares for you very much, who wants to come in and help you to heal in this situation. Again, this could be a friend or a family member. But you are going to be met with someone, I believe, that sees your pain and really just wants to help you through it. And so this will definitely be about healing issues, family issues, right? We're talking about Camel energy as well. I wouldn't be surprised if you are resonating a little bit with Camel energy in the sense that you're wanting to be on your own. However, I believe this person may also be resonating with some Camel and Crow in a sense that they will be exactly kind of what you need to balance your emotions out. They'll be able to talk to you about your feelings, and they'll be able to share their own experience with you. It'll be a very nice sort of healing process, and pretty much exactly what the doctor ordered, Gemini. 6 of Cups, the Lovers, and the Empress. So some of you are absolutely coming in this week With a love connection, I feel that you're perhaps trying to reconcile, right? You're thinking about a relationship or a dynamic that's really close to your heart. Six of Cups oftentimes is talked about as the soulmate card, but let's remember that soulmates aren't always just lovers. Soulmates can be friends, they can be teachers. Soulmates are just souls that are very well connected. Slightly different from a twin flame connection, which is actually a lover connection. However, I think this week you meet with somebody. This could be someone from your past, someone that you maybe even grew up with, or someone that you've known for a very long time that you've already had a really good connection with, and then this week it turns into a love connection. Okay, you guys begin this week's some of you will begin this week to sort of I want to say dip your toe, right? Dip your toe in the possibility of you two having more than just this long-term deep friendship and connection, really sort of resonating up to a love connection. But of course, the Lovers is a card for you, Gemini. This is your card, all right? And so this is very much you sort of I'm going to say that this is very much like a relationship that is just right up your alley, first of all, because you're showing up in your own reading. But aside from that, if we just look at the Lover's card on its own standing, besides its connection with you, with Lovers, we see that a connection needs to be worked on, right? With Lovers, we see that we have two halves of a whole, and those two halves aren't exactly the same. They're very different, but they fit together. The only way that it works, though, is if both halves, both people really respect each other and understand that, they have different things to offer each other, right? And so in this way, there is a harmony that can happen towards progressing the relationship, even when you're arguing. It's agreeing to disagree. It's agreeing that we're different people, but we love each other nonetheless. There's some things that are going to be the same goal and focus for you, and then some things you're going to do slightly differently. And that is the nature of the Lover's card in terms of understanding what makes a healthy relationship. And you round off the week with Empress energy, and I think this is really, really nice, Gemini. You round off the week feeling really good and happy, nurtured, beautiful. I think that this connection it's one of these type of connections, like you may be running into an old friend you haven't seen for a long time, or something like that, right? Or you may have been friends for a while. You may be have been seeing each other or been around each other socially, but now something's changed and gotten to this sort of deeper romantic level. However, all of it just makes you feel beautiful and on top of the world by the end of the week. You feel very much like you have found sort of the connection that you need right now to make you feel good, right? You feel just beautiful. It's like one of those love connect. You ever get together with somebody, you just feel like, wow, I'm just so like happy to be with this person. I feel so beautiful now that I'm with this person. I feel whole. And this is going to be very, very nice indeed for you, Gemini. Nine of Wands, Five of Pentacles, and a Death card. So some of you are coming in this week really sort of looking back on certain issues. I'm going to say this could be another case of healing. You're looking back on a really difficult, turbulent time, a time that has been really full of a lot of burdens that you've had to carry, a lot of burdens that may have even alienated you from the rest of the world. You may have been walking a path or a stage in your life where you just had to deal with this responsibility, and it's really been hard on you, and you're looking back on it like, wow, I've really been through it. But you're coming to the end of it, right? Nine of Wands talks about, summoning that last little bit of energy, realizing that you're in a situation that is untenable. You can't carry on. At some point, this burden or responsibility will become too oppressive, and you will have to lay it down. But you're beginning to see that. You're beginning to sort of muster the courage and strength to get to that stage. So this week is very introspective and contemplative. Five of Pentacles is what you're met with, and I'm going to say it feels very much like you've been looking over a particular stage or area in your life where you've been dealing with a lot of, like I said, a lot of burdens. And this week it comes to a head because Five of Pentacles is a power struggle. And I think this burden, obviously, I believe has something to do with money or finances as well. But you end up getting to, you know, it's almost as if like you see what you've been going through. You can't really contain yourself anymore. You have this split this week with someone or a group of people, and there's a divide. You're the one who's going to end up paying the price financially in the short term, because that's what Five of Pentacles talks about. It talks about an argument or a power dynamic that leaves you paying the price financially. But almost always Five of Pentacles happens at a time in our lives when that dynamic was doomed to fall apart anyway, right? It's just that now it's happened in such a way, it may be causing some upheaval, but what comes out of this is so much better. Five of Pentacles is very much a 2 steps backward, 10 steps forward card, right? You may be set back a little bit. You may have to sort of build yourself back up from the ground. An example would be like, if you've been living with someone and you've been perhaps maybe taking care of them more than you should have because maybe they have health issues or they have financial issues or whatever, and there's some kind of connection there that makes you feel responsible for them, yet and still the burden has really begun to be too much that you can bear. And so this week, it could be that you begin to talk about it or say something and everything sort of explodes and you end up leaving or they end up leaving, right? And although it was too heavy of a burden, really, it was becoming too heavy, the way that everything has develops, it still leaves you in a short term kind of ass out, right? Especially, for instance, if they leave or you have to leave and suddenly now you're having to come up with money for other things, maybe for a move or something. This is just an example of what I'm talking about with this dynamic. Nevertheless, you know it was getting to that stage already because you know it was getting too much for you to bear. So it was inevitable that the split would occur. And oftentimes, of course, it's inevitable to have consequences of that. However, towards the end of the week, you have a death card. And out of this comes a whole shift in your life. There's going to be a physical, emotional, mental change. And death is unstoppable. And this is what I mean. This was really a scenario that was going to happen at some point or another anyway, right? It was never going to be, you know, you were never going to leave this or be done with this scenario without some kind of you know, split or division or, you know, argument or, you know, it just was never going to end necessarily positive because, you know, the people, either the people you're dealing with or the nature of the scenario. So, you know, this was bound to happen. And just like death is not, you know, we talk about death and terror, we're not talking about an actual death, but nevertheless, it's a transformation, a change in your life. But just like real death, it is unstoppable. You really can't stop this from coming in at all. It was necessary. It will come in, and out of the ashes is what really something beautiful will grow. Trust me, because usually this Five of Pentacles, it's like, it's a power dynamic that forces a split in a scenario that was never really good for you anyway, right? And so it's like you just have to take your medicine. You have to go deal with the consequences in the short term so that you can be better off in the long term. Ace of Cups, King of Cups, and Seven of Swords. This is going to be your last spread. You come into this week with love. There's a new love. There's a new love connection that you have with someone, a new avenue or a new opportunity for a love connection, and you're met with the King of Cups. I'm going to say that this is your love connection. I believe you're the one who's resonating with the King of Cups energy in the sense that this love connection this new love connection you've met, you're the one who's really taking the lead. You want it. You want them, you know, because the King of Cups is really sort of the instigator in relationships. He's the one who goes after what he wants. Oftentimes he can be jealous and possessive as well. However, I don't feel that here. I just feel like somebody has caught your eye. Somebody's really woken you up and caught your eye, and you have really set your sights on them. However, be careful because you're at the end of the week, we see a Seven of Swords. The Seven of Swords is treacherous. treachery. And there's someone in your life really who is working behind the scenes to sort of mess your situation up, right? To sort of interfere with this possible love connection. It could be that they're jealous. It could be that they're jealous that you found someone. They could be jealous of the other person. They could be jealous of you having somebody. Whatever the case may be, Seven of Swords is the type of person who is the dream thief. You know, I call this my dream thief card, because this is usually someone who's very close to you, who you would least expect to be the one to do sort of underhanded stuff, right? But they're oftentimes really someone that is a good friend or even a relative or someone you know very, very well. And they're and that's why we call it the card of treachery and thievery. Thievery, definitely, but treachery, because it's usually someone very close to you who wants to take something that you have. So take care this week, Gemini, because this new love connection and your sort of like focus on it has really got someone in your life up to no good, right? And the thing with Seven of Swords is that if things are beginning to happen this week that you really don't pay attention to red flags. Okay, things are happening this week that make you feel like, hang on a second, that doesn't seem right, or why, you know, or somebody you know who's you're very close to suddenly got a weird vibe with you, or suddenly they're acting a little bit out of character and you can't seem to understand why, if you're resonating with this, right? Just take care, pay attention to red flags, and just, you know, keep your eyes open, because chances are that there's something going on behind the scenes that you really don't know about, and if you found out, you would be really quite shocked. So watch your back, okay, Gemini? All right, this is your reading for December 8th to the 14th. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget, I am giving away this beautiful Spirit Animal Oracle deck for Christmas. This is my first Christmas on YouTube, and so this is my first Christmas gift that I'm giving away. And so the only thing you need to do to be in the running for this gift is to be a subscriber of mine, and just to let me know in the comments that you're actually interested, because I don't want to give this deck to someone who's not going to be interested or who's not going to work with it. Don't worry if you're in Europe or Africa or Asia or South America or anywhere else in the world, because if you get mail, then you are eligible and I can send this international, no problem. All right, guys. Once again, if you want to get a private reading, follow the link on your screen. If you just want to get a short 10-minute answer to a question, I do that as well. They're tarot answers. They're 10-minute video tarot reading answers that are delivered to you within 4 hours of your request. So if you don't want to get the full reading, sit down for a half an hour and actually do the full reading with me, you can, of course, order that 10-minute tarot answer. And all I require from you is your question and just some background information, some details, and then I will respond to you. All right, guys. Thank you so much for checking out this video, and I shall see you next week. Bye-bye.